Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, etc. So, it's your boy, the Skyway Corsair, coming at you from a random parking lot here. Um, if you're new to the channel, this is Staring Beyond the Wall. We are staring beyond the wall today, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, really. So, man, I can never keep these things from being extremely long. I feel like I always have something like a million different subjects to cover. So let's just jump right into it. For me personally, so I've been given 2 weeks to pay my rent or get the fuck out of the house that I've been living in for 6 years. Uh, if you're new to the channel, I am a father of four. I have two kids. My two oldest kids. They have no other parent. It's just good old me. Their mom is in the wind. No idea where she's at. Don't care. She's not a good person. My youngest two, they live with their mom, and she is the type of person that won't even let her siblings see one another. Just gives you an idea of how, yeah, of where that's at, what kind of person I'm dealing with. She despises my two oldest kids. A 9 and a 10-year-old despises them and won't let them see their brother and sister. So that's fun. I'm in a place that is better. It's a better place than where I'm from. It's 300 some miles away from where I'm from. A whole 2 states over from where I'm from. But it looks like, unfortunately, I'll be heading back to where I'm from with no guaranteed place to go either. Because 2 weeks to get out of my house, pay the rent or get out, and I'm dead broke. I don't have assets. I have my car. This car is all I own. I have like a washer and a dryer, and an oven, and a refrigerator. These are several years old at this point. All of them are at least 6 years old. I'm not really sure what good that would do me selling these things. And I'm not a very good, I'm not out in the community, you know? I've always been pretty introverted, so I don't know a lot of people at all. And I've never been very good at I don't know which routes to even go to selling things. But beyond those things, I don't really know what I would sell. I don't own things that are of any value. I have no assets. Um, so this is where we're at. I don't know how the hell I'm going to pay my rent. I was working two jobs. One of my jobs, if you're new to the channel, exploited the shit out of me. Paid me absolute trash compensation for work that I did. And then when I asked for more money, they cut me. They cut me off, cut me down to 1 day a week, 5 hours a week. And now they've cut me completely. They haven't fired me technically because I worked there long enough for unemployment, and I think that my employer is such a piece of shit. The owner is such a piece of shit that he does not want to pay. He doesn't want to be responsible for any kind of unemployment. So he's hoping that I'll just quit, which I'm pretty much going to be forced to do, because unless I just don't say anything to him and I move back home, and it's like, I'm still on the, technically on the books. Motherfucker, I'm just going to hang on to that. Screw you. I don't know. I could do that. But I've been taken off their schedule, and I'm just in limbo. I just last night, after finding out that I had 2 weeks to get out of my home, the other job that I got it was a merchandising job, very limited work, and it paid me only $10 an hour and required me to drive 20 minutes to another town, 20 minutes back. My first paycheck from that, after wasting a lot of time on this job too, because I was only trained 1 day and then kind of left to my own devices. So I spent a lot of time just out more or less wasting time trying to figure out how to go about doing my job properly, because I like to do things properly. I don't like to just half-ass or do things and not know exactly that what I'm doing is the right way, right? So a lot of just time spent not actually earning money. And my first paycheck was like $190 after 2 weeks. It's like, what was I supposed to do with that? You know? So, I told them I'm being forced to relocate. I can't work. Because all the work that had been allotted to me, the only work that was left, and there was nothing on the future schedule. The way that this merchandising gig worked, there's ups and downs, ups and downs of how much work that's available. Sometimes there's a lot of work available. Sometimes there's like nothing available. And yeah, there was like maybe $130, $140 worth of work left available for the foreseeable future. Again, what am I supposed to do with that? What's the fucking point? What a joke, dude. So, here we are. I'm going to try to pull off a Hail Mary, because I do not want to go back to where I'm from. Where I'm from is a destitute, awful place, and I've never been, and it's not because I don't really know a full explanation behind it. I've always been a very introverted person, right? I have always had a few select group of friends and a close knit circle, and I was never a big family person, but it wasn't because I despised my family. There were certain family members I was really close with. My grandfather, I was really close with my grandfather. He passed away the same year that I left that place, because like once he was gone, I was like, I'd been wanting out of that place as long as I could remember. And once he was gone, it was like, okay, this is the catalyst, and I got the fuck out of there, right? But my mom, we're close, but I mean, we don't always see eye and eye in a lot of things. But other than that, my dad was never there. He's a big piece of shit. It's funny because he and I think so much alike, but like from a moral standpoint, I'm far superior to him. I actually have wanted to be in my kids' lives. My oldest two's mom took off, and I was like, yep, I'm not doing that. And I've hung in there and been a single parent through a good chunk of their life. And I don't want to leave my other two kids, but I don't know what to do. I've tried to reconcile with my ex, and she would be all for it if I didn't have my other two kids. That's what's crazy about it. It's like, dude, how can you hate kids? How can you hate children? But that's where it's at. That's where it's at. It's crazy. Because maybe we could reconcile. She still has a job. It's like, again, I'm not trying to leech off anybody. I'm trying to find more work. But she has a job and a place to stay, and it's like, hey, we could work this out, and maybe we could. I've always wanted to still be a family if we could make it work, right? Because I think it's important for the kids to be together, or for them to have like a mom and a dad. But hey, what can you do? You can't force anybody to do the right thing, right? So, yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with my landlord, but she doesn't want to hear any of it. She doesn't care. And these people, I love it. I love this, how people love to say this is a Christian nation, the United States. And it's like, sure, I guess. Sure, I guess, in the sense that, like, Christianity is just a big black hole of just lies and bullshit across the board. It's not only is it not true, it's not real. It's just a bunch of stories. But it's also just, Jesus, this is what Jesus would have done. And Jesus, we know the whole, what would Jesus do? Jesus was this, hippie dude who was, fucking, hey, man, I'm going to help the poor and do all this shit. And all these people claim to be followers of Christ, and it's like, yeah, Jesus, that's what Jesus would do. Jesus would throw out a single dad with his two young kids out on the street, right before Christmas, their holiday, yeah, that's what Jesus was doing. Now again, I'm not trying to victimize myself. You know, I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't ask to have the mind that I do. I didn't ask to be able to see through the bullshit of this capitalistic hell. I didn't ask for that. Um, I didn't ask for many things, right? And I can't. And it's like with jobs, with work. I mean, in terms of the work that I have that I've worked in the last couple of years, I've lost jobs because of lack of childcare. You know, I've lost jobs because of companies deciding that, you know, after having me work there for 3 weeks, you know, and right before Christmas, this happened last year, oh, we're downsizing, and just out of nowhere, just cutting me. Because I was the newest employee, while they have like people that work there that just do drugs and aren't in the facility half the time. You know, but they've been there longer and they know people. What kind of fucking world is this, right? So you there's no playing the game by that person just ran through a stop sign. But there's no playing the game by the rules. This person's gonna be looking at me all weird. I really don't want to deal with that. But there's no playing the game by the rules, and there's no, I mean, in trying to do it your own way clearly isn't a way you can navigate this space, because most people are so brainwashed, they're so hypnotized by propaganda. You know, it's just been indoctrinated for decades of propaganda, like my landlord, you know, into believing, you know, this is the way things are, and this is, you know, the American capitalism is the greatest thing since sliced fucking bread. And, you know, and here we are with the job market crashing, and people out there can't find work. I've tried to find more work. I've tried to find more jobs, and it's like all of it's failed. The jobs that, like I said, I did get because I want to, you know, actually be properly compensated, you know, or get hired doing a job that only pays $10 an hour. Like, that's the kind of jobs that are available, right? Even those are becoming increasingly difficult to get, you know, as I've, you know, alluded to. So this is what living in the U.S. has become, right? It's always been. I mean, especially in the last 45 years, it's been just an absolute shit show. Where there's just been it's been an ongoing war against the poor. There's no, you know, it's talking about war on drugs, war on crime. There's no war on poverty, right? It's a war against it. There's a war against those in poverty, though, right? And it fucking kills me, dude. You know, nobody can sit there and say that I'm not trying to do what I can. I mean, again, I'm ready to fucking do work, even though I have a huge problem with the way this system works, clearly. And most, if not all, jobs today are completely pointless. There's no fulfillment there. When you work for a corporation, you know, or, you know, a company, you're basically working just to survive and make somebody else more money. You're making somebody else richer, right? The rich, the owners, those with that own the means of production. You're just making them wealthier, while they, you know, find ways of taking more from you. You know, that's why we've seen, you know, just this, you know, the war on unions, you know, and any kind of workers' rights. Like, I think it's hilarious, like the housing crisis that we're in. That's hilarious. This big manufactured fucking crisis by those that just, you know, so many different companies and industries involved in this, to just, you know, it's all about money. It's all about profit. It's all anybody gives a fuck about, right? My landlord, I've been a good tenant, you know, and I've tried to be, you know, as good as a person as I can be, and, it's like, can't you give me, where's the community there? Like, if, I've never been in a position where I've had assets and, means to really help others. But, I mean, anytime I've had something, I've helped others. People in the street. I mean, I remember, where I'm from, because the town that I live with close proximity with is a bigger town than like this place that I live in now is. There was a lot of homelessness, people in the streets and stuff. People, and man, if I had money in my pocket, even though I never made a lot of money working in a mall or something, working some shit job, I gave people shit, man. I would give them people, even if it was just a few dollars. It's like, hey, man, go get yourself something to eat, you know? Because this system has just fucked people. And, despite everything, despite trying to do this thing, play the game, play within the system, that's got me nowhere. And like I said, trying to do things my own way has got me ostracized and isolated. Talking about, being like introverted and not a lot of, not having a lot of friends in my family kind of. But what that comes down to is like, the people in my family, most of them are, they're trapped in this system. Their thinking is with the confines, within the parameters of this system. Western capitalistic thinking. And they don't think about the things that I think about. They don't study history. They don't ask questions really. And so it's not been like, oh, I just don't care about my family. It's like I can't relate with many of people in my family, and there's a reason why, like, it's like so many people in my family, I've not been in much contact with since I left home. But it's not because I hate them, because I don't care. It's because, again, I just can't relate with them. There's a reason why my best friend, from back home, that I still stay in contact with him constantly, as consistently as possible. And that's because, like, he thinks like I do. He and I could have always connected on these levels. It's like that right there kind of should dispel this notion that that I just don't give a shit about people. Many of my family, I think that, and it's like that's just not the case. I've never been a social butterfly, and we just think differently, and we're on different wavelengths, and it's not, again, I don't despise you guys. I'm not apathetic towards you. It's just, I gravitate towards the people that are like-minded, and so I don't even want to ask people for help. I don't want to do any of that. But because I see things from those perspectives. I know what it looks like. But I'm kind of there where I'm having to see if maybe family will help me. But again, if I had the means, I don't care who they are. And my thing has always been, and I don't think people believe me, but if you have any connection to me, and you've not been somebody who's been like an evil person, right? Maybe we've had disagreements or something like that, but overall, there's still respect there. There's still caring there, right? You could look at my ex, the mother of my two youngest, because the mother of my two oldest, like I said, she could, I don't even know if she's still around, if she still exists. If she does, that's a person I don't give a fuck about. I'm sorry, I just don't. Somebody that manipulates and then walks out on their kids, and they fuck that shit, So, but like the mom of my two youngest, it's like we've had so many issues, but I still care, and there's still this loyalty, right? And that's the thing. It's like even the family members that I haven't talked to in years and stuff, it's like we have a connection. There was nothing. Maybe we haven't talked or anything, but there was, you never did anything to me. There's no reason for me to hate you or whatever. It's like we have a connection, And push comes to shove, if you know if you're on the front lines and you need backup, you know, I'm the man. I'll be there. I'm the first one there. I've got your back, man. I've never been the best at like navigating society as it is. So sometimes, and people, if they go through financial situations, it's like I'm always going through a financial situation. I'm always in financial crisis. So maybe I can't help there, but you know, despite all our social constructs, it's like shit can still get real, and if the shit gets real, I've got your back, right? But that doesn't mean anything to people. It doesn't seemingly mean anything to people, right? And so, yeah, again, I'm not trying to victimize myself at all. This is, what shit's wild, it's wild, and but I'm trying. I'm gonna try to pull a Hail Mary in these 13 days I have to get, pay rent or get out. I don't know what exactly that's going to look like. In my mood just ebbs and flows. It's like one moment I'm like I'm ready to take on the world, and the next moment I'm like in panic mode, nearly having like a panic attack, feeling like my heart's going to beat out of my chest. But what do we do? Well, I don't know. Like, I'm so ready for change in this country, and for people to like, for community, and for people to stop worshiping the dollar, But I don't know. I don't know if we can, we can fight the good fight, and I'm going to continue to fight the good fight, push back against this shit. Um, Despite my personal turmoil right now, I'm gonna do everything I can, like I said, to make sure my kids have a place to live. Hopefully the same place, because I don't want to rip them out of school. But I'm gonna do what I can. But at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna lose focus of the big picture. I'm not the only one going through shit, and there are people in far worse situations than me, which is pretty wild to think about. Since I'm pretty much at the edge of being homeless, my kids and I being homeless. I don't care, But I won't abandon my kids, right? I had like some family saying, "Won't you send them here? We'll look after them." They did say they would do that, But it's like, man, my kids, I'm their constant, and they're my constant. Separating us would be. It's not. That's not happening, right? I'm not going to have my kids feel like they've been abandoned by their father, right? After they've been abandoned multiple times before by their mother, and then somebody that was supposed to be that was taking on the role of their mother. Fuck that shit. My kids don't deserve that shit. So, I'm gonna keep fighting. Shout out to Large Man Abroad. I appreciate it, brother. That you responded to my comment on your last video and told me to not stop fighting. I'm not gonna stop fighting, man, because this shit is insane. Everything about this fucking society is insane. I want to take care of my kids. I don't do drugs. I don't fucking. I'm not out here addicted to fucking material objects. I just want to I just want to be able to have a life worth living, to be able to take care of my kids. I just want, at this point, it's like you just want the bare minimum, man. Just want the fucking bare minimum. I'm not asking for much, man. Asking for a chance to take care of my kids. But at the same time, again, I do want to be a part of that change, because we need change. There are people out there, millions of people in this country and across the world, that need folks to unite and push for that change. I'm ready to be a part of that, like I said, because it isn't just about me. It's not just about, my kids are the most important thing to me in the world, but hey, I'm aware that other people exist. Imagine that. There are other kids. What is this guy doing? Hold on. But there are other kids in the world, other kids in this country, that are going through similar shit. And I'm sure I'll face criticism. Some people saying that I'm a bad parent. I may not be the best, but god damn it. Everything I do is for my kids. Because, if I didn't have kids, this would be easy, right? In the sense that I could just go live in the woods. My kids can't live in the woods, and I'm not going to abandon them, right? Yeah, things are, people up on their high horse, people, in situations where they're not facing this kind of existential crisis here. You can pass judgment so easily. Yeah, we judge on this channel. We've judged before. But I'm judging those who are uncaring, those who are willfully ignorant, right? Those who exploit and manipulate. I don't know, guys. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to keep fighting the fucking good fight, I guess. I'm going to try to make sure that my kids and I have a place to stay. Hopefully it's here. I don't want to leave my other two kids, even though their mom is just a completely deranged person at this point. I'm just being as honest as I can. Being honest, right? How do you despise children? How can you, like when I told her that this was the situation, and I asked if we have to go, can the kids please see each other? And she's like, no, that's not necessary. What? The kids can't see their brother and sister before they may have to go live 300 miles away? Are you kidding me? That's the nature of the fucking world, though, man. Like, how fucked up are we? Why do we keep doing this to each other? Thousands of years of fucking civilization, and we still act the fucking same. But, alright. I've got to try to do stuff. I'm really, I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared. This is a uphill battle that, I have a very limited amount of time to win. I'm going to do my best to pull off something that would make Napoleon or Hannibal Barca or Scipio Africanus proud here. Some sort of strategic maneuver to win this battle. To save my family here. To keep us going. We've made it this far. I appreciate you. Wish me luck. I wish you luck in any endeavor that you may be undertaking, any problems you are facing. People say this shit all the time, but it's kind of cliche, but we are in this together. Um, if you happen to see this, you're having a problem, you're going through something, reach out to me. Leave a comment. I'll respond. I'll respond. But for now, I'm going to get out of the car. I got to get some ibuprofen. Been dealing with a lot of headaches here lately. Gotta make lots of phone calls. Gotta pull off a miracle. But this is the Skyway Corsair. You've been watching Sailing Beyond the Wall today. And again, I do appreciate you. Like, subscribe, and hopefully, maybe one day the goal is to feel a little more comfortable and have a little bit more time where we can really turn this channel into something. But we got to make it through this. We got to make it through this right now. So, as always, I appreciate you all, and I'll catch you on the next one. Okay. Peace.